Good morning. I feel very compelled to help any potential first-time home buyers, anybody buying another home, selling, uh, refinancing, whatever it is you're going through right now in this time in November of 2025. There is so much confusing information coming out, and I personally have not reviewed it all. There may be some really exciting things happening that I think might help a customer that I couldn't help before. That's always possible. So I'm not trying to be discouraging in any way. All I want to say is you have to find a loan officer or mortgage advisor. And in many cases, the changes happening right now that people are all hyped up about aren't going to affect you at all. So please just take everything with a grain of salt and know that every loan officer out there is going to be trying to help customers. And sometimes they're going to read a headline or read a article and make a bunch of comments on it without fully understanding or reading the whole thing. That's why I'm not prepared to tell you anything about the requirements of changing no credit scores. I know enough to know the headlines are, but basically coming up very soon, they're saying that Fannie Mae is no longer going to have a minimum credit score, which would mean that all the customers I tried to help that maybe had a credit score around 595 versus the minimum Fannie Mae required, which was 620, might now have a chance. And I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying that Fannie Mae is going to have other strict requirements. And prior to credit scores, which I'm old enough to say I was there, we analyzed specific things. We were the algorithm before there were algorithms, at least that I knew about. So what they're saying now is they've trusted Fannie Mae's algorithm enough to know that an arbitrary 620 credit score, which may have been caused by one 30-day late because the customer opened an account to get a discount and forgot, and then all of a sudden their payment went past due. Mind, there are pros and cons to any guideline change that comes out. I think the goal overall is to help people afford homes and to get into homes. I truly believe everybody means the very best. But I do believe there are going to be some pretty tight rules around the customer that gets approved for a Fannie Mae loan and has a credit score that is less than 620. Not that it's not possible, they're making it possible. I'm also hearing stuff about 50-year mortgages. Now, I rolled my eyes, but I'm not saying that's not wrong for everyone. There are people back in the day that did the negative amortization loans, and they were very good at them. And when I say that, what I mean is they knew they had options. They could pay less than the minimum payment for interest, which means negative amortization. The minimum interest payment was maybe 1,800 and they opted to pay 1,200. The difference between that's the negative equity that was put on their loan. Now, people that did that responsibly and knew what they were doing, and like people that get huge bonuses at different times of the year, stock options, maybe they had a house they were selling and they knew they were going to make these little tiny payments for a while, and then they would turn around and do a 15-year amortized payment. They had four options. It was an option arm. And some people, they nailed it. And maybe they had four or five option arms. They came out fine. But there are other people that were not prepared for what happened. And when they decided to make that less than interest only payment, it killed them later. They lost their homes. They owed more than the property was worth. And that's what I'm saying about anything in the mortgage business, anything in the real estate financing business, private financing. There is always going to be a trade off. And so, any announcement you hear that says now you can qualify for a loan, just be wary, ask questions, find a loan officer you trust. But if you don't feel comfortable with the first one and you don't get the right answers or you feel like something's off, talk to a different one. Talk to somebody that knows. Don't just follow the headline and the loan officer who's following the headline and not realize the fine print. I'm here to help if you want to put anything in comments. Just be careful, be very careful out there. There's just a lot of ideas flying around to try to help. And in some cases, I think it's going to help. And in other cases, it maybe is just going to be disappointing. And worse than disappointing, maybe costly. So I will come back soon and just be careful.